Hello, everyone, and here we are with the second episode of IHS Laboratory Vlog Speak Up. And if previous episode was about the restoring confidence in building materials of Australia and New Zealand with Matthew Wright from UL, today we'll continue the thematic line with Shawn McIssac. So Shawn is a co-founder and a director of Oculus, a prominent Auckland-based building enclosure engineer, and he's been working on large commercial projects in US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand over the past decade. So he incorporates the concept of thermal, air, solar, and acoustic performances in his consulting work, which means that the building he's working on are healthy, warm, and dry. Shawn is an industry leader, and he is sought after specialist and a spokesperson who provides media commentary and advisory to government organizations. So, Shawn, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah. So I know Oculus team is collaborating with various industry stakeholders on many projects, and you're often working on improving building products and systems. So my first question is around that. Referring to our previous discussion with Matt about the confidence in building materials, do you think there is a room for improvement specifically for building materials in New Zealand? And if yes, why do you think so?
So it's a really loaded question. So we obviously work on buildings quite a bit. We see a lot of buildings. We do a lot of testing, and there's no end to the amount of things that you could test and look for to provide more confidence to your building. We tend to see in New Zealand basically the bare minimum, and there's lots of things we could be doing, a lot of simple things we could be doing as well. I think we need to get to a point where we're doing a lot more testing, a lot more rigorous testing reports. And then verifying on site is actually what was tested and what was specified. And throughout the industry, we're doing what we can based on the fees that are available. And so if clients and government officials want to raise the bar on confidence, we're all game for it. We're all here. But at the moment, it's a race to the bottom for a lot of consultants. And so it's very hard to do all of the tests you might do. So it's really just focusing on the main ones. So yeah, tons of room for improvement, but I don't quite know what's going to drive it.
Listen, well done. A lot of testing sounds fantastic. So it means you are getting there. So good. Listen, I know that you guys are driving change in the industry, and you are quite visible, and I see you, specifically you on TV. I hear your name mentioned in various industry collaborations. So you have this strong voice, and you are an influencer in the industry in a way. So my second question is, if among your professional aspirations, do you have this challenge to improve the quality of those materials or the confidence in building materials? And if yes, if there are any initiatives you've already embarked on in that direction?
When we started Oculus, one of the things we were really conscious about is that we were only going to be able to work on a small fraction of the buildings in New Zealand. We might get around to 100 or 200 projects a year, but there's thousands of buildings being built. So for us to improve the industry meant we needed to get our voice out there and give people some of the resources that weren't really around in the market 2-3 years ago. So, hopefully some people have been able to pick up a few pointers, maybe ask some new questions, maybe look in a new way at what they were doing. So, I think we've used, I think we're probably mostly known for social media on LinkedIn. That was a really great platform for us. What we really like about LinkedIn as compared to other platforms is that everyone's got their name on there. You can't be anonymous. So when I'm posting, it's Shawn McIssac telling you what's what. And if I comment on your post, then it's me commenting, and I really like that part about LinkedIn. Very healthy, professional discussions. They've rarely turned personal. They're usually quite good discussions on there. And I'd like to think that government officials. One of the things we've learned about LinkedIn is it's not always the people that are commenting, which are the ones reading your posts. Sometimes it's the people reading your posts and not engaging, but the message is still getting through. So, yeah, for better or worse, our message is getting out there, which is quite good.
No, I think you're
On top
touching
of
on.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
So just
Go ahead. Sorry.
so the last some other things we've been doing. We've got a podcast called the 20 Degrees Podcast. We've got a second one called Gab Learns. And it's the first one is really it's a technical discussion about all kinds of building enclosure topics, building physics. That's Peter Raimondo and John Davies. They do a great job on that one. There should be some more episodes coming soon, which is good. 20 Degrees Podcast. And the other one is aimed at more of a consumer market, which is Gab Learns. So it's our marketing coordinator, Gab Davenport. She sits down with Peter and asks, the questions that may seem basic to some people, and Peter's able to help explain that in a really easy to understand way. So we're trying to target all parts of the market. Some people are really technical, some people are maybe building their own home. What are some easy tools you could implement? And it's all the feedback's been really good.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say when I was trying to interrupt you, sorry for that. So I said that you guys are really touching on very important topics, and your voice is heard, and I see a lot of engagement and in response to your posts, which are really great. Okay, and my last question, Shawn, will be around mass timber. And I've seen recently there is a very distinct trend where mass timber is gradually becoming a preferred building material. Do you think it means that for some of the conventional manufacturers, for the manufacturers of conventional building materials, it's some kind of a sign if they should be worried about their market share, or maybe they are already worried about that? What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Mass timber is so cool. Something about big pieces of wood and putting together big houses. It's so interesting to me. And it's something that you're going to see a lot more of from Oculus in the coming months and years. Small teaser there for some stuff we're working on. And I do think that there is starting to chip away at that market. Now, if I was in the concrete and steel industry, I would, if you're going to try and fight off mass timber, you're going to lose. It's growing so quickly. So if I was in those markets, I'd be looking for, how do I complement this? How can I work with this new material, this new product, and what are the kind of the benefits of doing so? So a lot of really good projects right now being built with steel frame, heavy gauge steel frames, columns and beams, using CLT floors instead of concrete floors. So if you're in the steel market, that's a great option for you. You're still keeping the same market, but you're using a material in a different way. The interesting thing about mass timber is that embodied carbon, the marketing piece that gets people excited. And what we actually see is the technical benefits of mass timber, particularly when you substitute mass timber in place of where concrete used to be. You're getting a huge savings in the weight of the building, which means all of your seismic forces go down, and now you have potentially lighter footprints, lighter foundations. So that actually, it's a knock-on effect. So you've got faster construction times with mass timber floors. And I think there's a growing trend towards some of the offsite manufactured solutions in that space. So I think anyone in a traditional industry, concrete, steel, even timber, should be aware that things are changing quickly around them. And you can either try to fight them and spread misinformation, or you can jump on board and be ahead of the curve. And, hopefully in 2050, you can look back and decide that you made the right choice to go towards some new technologies and lower embodied carbon. So Yeah, it's coming for sure. If not, it's already here.
So you've spotted that trend as well then. Listen, I understand that you're fascinated with mass timber, but question, and you've been talking about it from the positive point of view. If there are any negative things, any disadvantages or shortcomings to this building materials which you are aware of?
It lights on fire. That's problematic for some reasons. It's not to say you can't use it. It's just you need to be a bit more aware of those characteristics when you're building with it. I don't know. That's what you guys do a lot of, and I'm sure you've been testing tons of mass timber solutions and penetrations and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It but there's, like I said, there's safe ways to use these timber products. Fire is the big one. A troubling trend with mass timber that we're seeing is that people think treating timber makes it immune to water. And with timber studs, lightweight framing, timber framing, a little bit of water on studs is not going to significantly change things. When you get to mass timber, you have a huge amount of absorptive potential. And what people are missing is that just because you treat something, or the treatment will stop it from rotting, but the treatment won't stop it from absorbing water.
Mm-hmm.
When mass timber absorbs water, it has some really problematic characteristics. It loses strength, it gains weight, and those two things don't play well together. So treat the timber, go nuts, but don't lose sight of the fact that timber needs to stay dry. And I keep pushing that message forward, but we still see people doing really dumb stuff with mass timber like that.
Good, perfect. Thank you so much. Here we have the full picture now, all the pluses and minuses, pros and cons. Thanks a lot for that. Really appreciate your today's input, and we'll be looking forward to other get-togethers. And that's it. And I hope you'll have a great weekend ahead.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks for having me. I know you've
Yeah.
been to your lab a few times. You've got some really cool stuff there.
Yep.
If you haven't checked out the lab there, if you've never seen a fire test before and you're specifying fire products, you need to go see a test. So get in touch.
Good. Thank you. A little bit of advertising for Fire Test Laboratory here. Thank you, Shawn. Thanks.